What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, and I want to do a video talking about Kawhi Leonard. I've done a couple talking about him. I want to talk about him again. The Toronto Raptors beat the Washington Wizards in a double overtime game today. Can't remember the score. It might have been 140 to 138 or 139 or something like that. But Bradley Beal had a great game. I think he had a triple-double. I think he had like 43 points, like maybe 15 rebounds and 10 assists or something like that. Pascal Siakam, I think he fouled out. He had like 24 points and 19 rebounds in the game. And Kawhi Leonard had 41 points, 11 rebounds, I think 5 assists, 3 steals or something like that. And I choose to talk about him, man, because I think this season has been a vindication for him. I think the angriest I got this year is listening to the garbage that Colin Cowherd was saying one time in a segment, man, like downplaying this man's game, saying he's overrated, even trying to infer that the Raptors will be a better team without him, which is the stupidest damn thing I ever heard somebody ever say, a so-called sports guru like him. Like, you're telling me that the Raptors aren't better with this guy, and you're telling me that the Spurs are a better team without Kawhi? They're average right now, you know. You can see when you swap him with DeMar DeRozan. Now, I take it, I get that they don't have Ginobili anymore or Parker, but those guys are on the downside of their careers anyway. So you're telling me you don't see a difference? It's ridiculous, man. This guy is a rare two-way player in a league where that's becoming rarer and rarer. Like, who are the most notable two-way players in the league now? Leonard and Jimmy Butler. And the league doesn't even emphasize defense anymore. I've never seen it to the point where the league doesn't give a damn about defense. Doesn't give a damn about that. It's all about scoring. But then wait until the postseason. And let's see if we don't give a damn about defense anymore. You know what I mean? But I remember I did a video about him about 3 months ago. And there was speculation about how the Raptors would be. And I thought that they would be a good team. You know, I thought they would be, I think I said something along the lines of, I thought the Raptors would probably be like a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. I think I said something like that. And that's pretty much held true. If anything, they've overachieved my expectations. After the victory today against the Washington Wizards, they now have a 33-12 record. And that's not only the best record in the Eastern Conference, it's the best record in the NBA as of the moment. And they're a very good team right now. Now, there has to be a lot of pressure on them. I've said time and time again, we've seen the Raptors make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, only to get thwarted time and time again by their nemesis, LeBron James. He's no longer in the picture. So, to me, their main competition, until proven otherwise, are the Milwaukee Bucks. Right? We see that there's a lot of turmoil going on with the Boston Celtics to a slightly lesser extent. There's some stuff going on with the Philadelphia 76ers. But to me, the top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference are those 2 teams. Excuse me. But Kawhi Leonard, okay, it's been quite a journey for this guy, man. This young man. When he came into the league, he was a hitting gem. Those within the Spurs organization could see the blossoming talent that he was becoming. And we saw it pretty much as early, unless you were a Spurs fan and saw countless games. We first saw it back in 2013 when the Miami Heat beat the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Finals. But during the postseason, you could see that Kawhi Leonard, although he was a little bit less, he was a little bit more erratic, just a little bit more erratic offensively at that time than he is now. But you could see that he was a great defensive player who was developing a more polished offensive game. And then it was the very next year that Kawhi Leonard put on what was at the time a show in the NBA Finals against the Miami Heat. He won Finals MVP. He's the second youngest man ever to win NBA Finals MVP behind Magic Johnson. And I think he averaged like 17 or 18 points a game in that series. I think he averaged like 10 or 11 rebounds per game in that series. Shot 60% from the floor. And he had a stellar stint with the San Antonio Spurs. Led the NBA steals during 2014-15 NBA season, and back-to-back seasons, might have been 2015 and 16, he was the league's Defensive Player of the Year. And that was his stamp as a great two-way player, great defensive player. And at that particular time, back in those days, the 2014-15 seasons, it was him and Jimmy Butler seen as the best two-way players in the NBA. Since then, he has, especially when he started winning those Defensive Player of the Year awards, he's, to most people's eyes, I think everybody's eyes, surpassed Butler overall. Although Butler's a very good player, Kawhi is on another level, to the point where when Kawhi injured his ankle stepping on that bum Zaza Pachulia, Zaza Pachulia stepped on his ankle, excuse me. At that particular time, the Spurs had a 23-point lead against the Golden State Warriors. And that all but evaporated when Kawhi was injured. And after that, it was pretty much all downhill for Leonard and the Spurs organization. Leonard came back, played a couple of games, then I believe he suffered another injury. And I think Leonard knew that something wasn't right physically with him. Now, we weren't there. We don't know exactly what happened. We don't know all the details. But I do notice that the media, and from looking at a lot of feedback from commenters and fans, there's a general consensus that Leonard was acting like a spoiled brat. He was getting all this money. He needed to go out there and perform. But what pisses me off about people like that, all right, people like that, they're always bringing up how much money he makes and he needs to go out there and perform. He gets paid to do blah, blah, blah. All right. At the end of the day, all these people that I know in personal life, they always complain about not getting paid enough to do what they signed for in the first place. You know, whatever you do, whether you're a trash man, whether you, work in a state office, receptionist, lawyer, what have you. I've always heard people say, I deserve more money than what I'm making for the workload I'm doing. All right? And I've seen people time and time again call out when they feel like they're not appreciated. I know a lot of people do shit like that. But these same people will go online, I think Kawhi Leonard is acting like a spoiled brat. But the thing about it, Kawhi Leonard's physicality is at stake. See, if he can't physically perform, guess what? He's useless to the NBA. He's useless to any organization, and he will no longer be in the league. So it's to his best interest to preserve his body. If he feels that he wasn't right physically, then he deserves that. All right. And I've been guilty of that because I think I rushed a little bit of judgment with Derrick Rose when he was with the organization. I got frustrated with him and questioned whether or not he wanted to play anymore. And that was wrong of me. And any Chicago Bulls fan, all right? So there's that, man. And we don't know exactly what happened with the Spurs organization on their side. They obviously did something that made him feel disrespected or uncomfortable, and he did not want to be part of the organization anymore. I think it was probably, honestly, I think that they questioned his sincerity and wanted to play, and that he was maybe faking an injury or something, or he could play through it, or what have you. Well, tell that to, I mentioned this in the video I just did today, tell that to Kevin McHale. Kevin McHale went out there and played on a broken foot, played in the NBA Finals, and he was never the same player ever again. Now, the Celtics organization was very loyal, and he was able to play another 6 years, but in today's NBA, they would have traded his ass after a couple of years. You know, probably trade him next year. So Kawhi Leonard is in the prime of his career. I thought he would average 27 points per game. I got that right on the head. He's averaging 27.5 points per game, 8 rebounds a game, 3.2 assists per game, 1.9 steals per game. Efficient from the floor, shoots 50%. That's what I like to see. 37% from beyond the arc, 85% foul shooter. And that's helped to translate to team success. And you can make an excellent case that he's the MVP of the NBA. And he's had an excellent first half of the season. The Raptors have had an excellent first half of the season. Now we have to see whether or not Kawhi Leonard is enough to take him to the next level. I think he should be able to. Whether they win a championship or not, I don't know about that. But this team is definitely good enough to at least make it to the NBA Finals. I think, me personally, I think if they play the Milwaukee Bucks, I think the fact that Giannis is somewhat limited offensively, that plus the fact that they don't have a consistent secondary scoring option, in the event that teams are really focused on Giannis, I think that can hurt this club, Milwaukee, in a series against the Raptors. And as deep as the Raptors are, I just like the Raptors' chances in a series against a team like the Milwaukee Bucks, if they were to face them. And if they were to go in the NBA Finals, if they'd play the Golden State Warriors, I don't know if that series is as lopsided as everyone thinks it will be, but of course you have to favor the Golden State Warriors. But whether he wins or loses against the Warriors in the finals or whether they get that far, this season will still be a vindication for Kawhi Leonard. Me personally, also, I think Leonard should stay with the Raptors, man. You know, he could become and put it like this. If he can bring a championship to this city, I understand if he played with the Clippers, it'll be the big, just as big probably. But if he can bring a championship to the Toronto Raptors organization, I mean, he would literally change the landscape of the NBA. I mean, nobody wants to play in Canada. Nobody really wants to play there. But if he can go there and win a championship, I think a lot of people would change their minds about that. You know what I mean? Like, he literally can change the trajectory of the NBA. if he was able to do that. Now, the Raptors organization is taking a risk with this because really you could only be using the guy for 1 year and he's gone. But if they're able to win a championship, man, that would be something special. And maybe he changed his mind, or maybe he, will reconsider some things. But tell me what you guys think about his season so far, man.